Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video I'll be taking a look at the newly released Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition of Star Wars, The Bounty Hunter Wars. This was originally published as a trilogy of books by Bantam Spectra and Del Rey Books, as The Mandalorian Armor in 1998, Slave Ship in 1998, and Hard Merchandise in 1999. Now, Star Wars The Bounty Hunter Wars is a book that I've talked about on my channel before. It was on one of my top 5 lists, and it's my favorite Star Wars book ever. Now, I haven't read a ton of Star Wars books, but I've read more than a handful of them over the years. And out of all the ones I read, this one is still my favorite. Not only that, this was the first one I ever read. And I got this one way back in 1999 through the Science Fiction Book Club. Now, if you don't know what the Science Fiction Book Club is, it's like Columbia House Music Records. So you would sign up and they would send you out a batch of really cheap books for your initial membership. But then the trade-off would be you would be under contract to purchase 4 more books from them over the next 2 or 4 years. I can't remember what it was, at regular price. Now, if you did the math, it still worked out to be really cheap with the initial books and the ones you bought at regular price. It would work out overall to be about $7 a book. So it was a good deal. And it was a way to get a lot of hardcover books. Now, you can always tell a Science Fiction Book Club edition is because their hardcovers are a little bit smaller than normal hardcover books. So this is an omnibus. So this is actually a trilogy of books that was put into one. And this was one of my initial picks. It was part of that batch they sent out to me way back in 1999. And I got around to reading it in December of 1999. I had gotten a really bad lung infection, and at the same time I was trying to quit smoking. I remember that year was a really rough winter, so I was laid up in bed for 2 solid weeks. I couldn't do anything. So I just dived right into this book, and that's all I could do was read. So I read this book over the 2 weeks that I was in bed sick. And I just absolutely loved the story. So I have a lot of fondness for this book because I always associate it with when I quit smoking back in December of 1999. And at the point when this book came out, Boba Fett was still a very mysterious character because Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, had come out, but we still hadn't seen Attack of the Clones yet, and all the other Disney stuff would be years and years down the road. So all we really knew of Boba Fett is what we've seen in Empire Strikes Back. And that's one of the things I really liked about Boba Fett was he was such a mysterious character and he looked really cool. And Boba Fett is one of my favorite Star Wars characters, and his ship, the Slave One, is my favorite starship in all of Star Wars. So this is the old Sci-Fi Book Club edition. So as you can see, it's a hardcover, and for being over 20 years old, it's actually still in fairly good shape. And this was written by K.W. Jeter. And it has some pretty nice jacket artwork on it. And there's the spine. And the story is pretty good. But in this video, I'm not going to be doing a review of the story. To do a proper review, I'd have to actually reread this book. Now, not only did I have this edition, but recently I picked up the 3 paperbacks of this trilogy. So here's the 3 paperbacks, and I picked these up at a used bookstore. And I saw them there, and I said, you know what, I just have to have these. You know, my edition is getting really old. I would like to have the paperbacks. And then this way you get to see all 3 of the covers, because the cover artwork for these books were really good. Here's the cover artwork on the back. They had some really nice cover artwork. I have to say, this is my favorite one. This cover right here for the 3rd book in the trilogy. So that's the 3 paperback editions of The Bounty Hunter Wars. Now, not only that, recently, Barnes & Noble have released this trilogy of books in a leather-bound edition. So here is the Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition of Star Wars The Bounty Hunter Wars. And they've done some other Star Wars as leather-bound editions, but never had any interest in getting them. They did the Han Solo trilogy, and they did a Kenobi book. And I've done reviews on these leather-bound editions in the past. I have Frank Herbert's Dune, the leather-bound edition, and I also have Bram Stoker's Dracula, the leather-bound edition. And if you look back on my channel, I talked about those books and reviewed those books. So that's what I'm going to be taking a look at in this video, as a close-up of this book right here. So as you can see, it's still inside the plastic. It hasn't been cracked open yet. So let's crack it open and have a look. So they do a really good job on these books. Let's take a look at the inside cover. Wow, that is some really nice artwork for the end papers. Star Wars, The Bounty Hunter Wars, The Mandalorian Armor, Slave Ship, and Hard Merchandise. The Bounty Hunter Wars, Book 1, The Mandalorian Armor. And all these books have, like when they're new, they have like that crunchy sound. These Barnes and Noble leather-bound editions. Like all their other books, they have this nice silk bookmarker. There's the back of the book, The Mandalorian Armor, Slave Ship, Hard Merchandise. Now we're just going to take a closer look at this book. And I love the back of this cover. You get to see a really cool image of the Slave One. It's a really, really nice edition. The only thing is they had to put that on their legends. I wish they didn't. And it's a little bit, it's somewhat embossed. You can kind of feel the letters and stuff are kind of raised, the image, like all the other Barnes and Noble books. And then they have it done in silver, the paper edges, which is a really nice touch. Now the only thing I did notice is little flecks of green paint or something, little defects in the paint, but not really anything serious or anything like that. There's another one. Now the only thing I did notice is there is a slight bit damage right there with one of the end papers, but not, it's really the only defect I could find. That and some of the green paint seems to have flaked off. So I got a little bit of it on my fingers. I don't know if that was just in the plastic. This book is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just going to take a more detailed look at these end papers. The artwork on this is really good. It looks like it's in Cloud City. It's really nice. And these books, they open really nice, like really nice and flat. These Barnes and Noble leather-bound editions. So they are very comfortable to read. Now I haven't actually read any of mine yet, but I can imagine they would be. Bird merchandise. They are a really nice book. Now the only complaint, and I've talked about this in the past with these books, is I find the papers are kind of thin. Like you can see right through this one. You can see the print on the other side. Which I wish they were a little bit heavier of the stock paper, like the Folio Society books. And that's the Barnes & Noble leather-bound edition of Star Wars: The Bounty Hunter Wars. A beautiful edition, an awesome Star Wars book to have. And this is the first thing Star Wars that I've gotten excited about in a long time. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.